Alrighty, Astral Projection Log number 2. I just got done astral projecting maybe 30 minutes ago or so. This has been a very confusing experience overall. So let's begin. I did the normal routine, laying on your back, staying completely still, focusing on your breathing, the normal routine. And I did this for a while, just focusing on my breathing, and it was kind of difficult to fight through all of the thoughts that were going through my head, because I kept thinking about my own life and some of the stressful things that have been going on. But I fought through it and managed to forget about all that and astral project. So I got into sleep paralysis, and after a few minutes of sleep paralysis, I had my first vision. And I'm not really sure what it means. So it was a plain of grass, just like flat land, okay, like in the middle of a field or something. And this field of grass, it was a small little area. It was pretty close up. It seemed like I was very short or something, like as if I was 3 feet tall, just looking down at the ground. That's the perspective, the angle that it was in. And this grass had patches of dead grass and alive grass all over it. It was just patches of, dead and alive grass all over the place. And, the alive grass was very green, and then the dead grass was very, yellow or, brownish almost. It was very dead. And there was no dirt, though. I guess the best way of describing the dead grass is to say that it was more like a peach color, I guess. I don't know how to really describe it, like sand, I guess, like a very, like a yellowish kind of color, but it was more like sand, I guess, like yellow sand. Not white sand, but yellow sand. It was like a dead grass color. That's the best way of describing it. So there's these patches of grass, and the shovel comes down. It was a red shovel, like a cylinder kind of shape, like half of the cylinder, I guess, is kind of the best way of describing it. Like a kid's sandbox shovel. That's the best way of describing it. You guys know sandbox shovels, how there's like two different types. There's the square ones, and then there's the kind of rounded ones. It was more of a rounded one, kind of like a gardening shovel, like a gardening hand shovel. It looked kind of like that, but it was like a plastic red shovel, or it looked plastic, at least in my vision. And it came down, and there was no one holding it. It was just floating, and it was coming down and digging out dirt. And the dirt disappeared. The second it would touch the shovel, and the shovel would dig it up, it would disappear. And it created this hole that was like a cone shape. And I heard voices in the background talking to me, and I couldn't make out what they were saying. They said something pretty vivid, and I understood them at the time, but once I got out of the vision, I couldn't understand what they just said to me. But I understood it at the time, and it kind of startled me, and this is what brought me out of my astral projecting state. Whatever they said actually really scared me. And I got a surge of adrenaline and woke up from astral projecting at that moment. And I tried to calm myself down, and I didn't move when I freaked out. I just kind of, kept breathing and fought through the adrenaline rush that just went through my body. And then I had my second vision, which was very vivid but confusing again. I was in a black room. And this room kind of, it looks like this room. Like, you can see behind me how it's like three-dimensional, you know? It was a perspective kind of similar to this, okay? With a wall here, a wall in front of me, well, it's behind me now, but, you know, and a ceiling, just kind of like that perspective, looking at a corner like that. And I was looking at my hands, doing this, okay? It was a first-person perspective, looking at a corner like that. And it was a black room. And my hands were very pale, but they seemed to be normal, like, you know, normal color, and then they would turn like pale every time I would do this. And I would just keep making this peak shape. And I was looking at my hands, doing this peak-shaped thing. And I don't know why I was doing it, it just was happening. And I was doing this peak shape. And there was no voices, it was just quiet. And doing this peak shape, and my hands, after a couple times of doing this, started to turn white and whiter every time I would get to the peak. They would get like very light, and they would continuously get lighter and lighter to the point where they were white, okay? But when they got to the point of being absolutely white, my hands disappeared, and they turned into lines, white lines in this black room, just, you know, and these lines were not three-dimensional, they were like a cartoon almost, just white lines, like in a peak shape. But they were moving as well, like I imagined my hands moving, but like these lines were moving instead. And after the first like movement of these lines, then I woke up instantly with a surge of like adrenaline and that bubbly feeling in my stomach that makes me nauseous. And that's when I stopped astral projecting, because it freaked me out. But I did notice a pattern here. The pattern being the cone, the inverted cone shape, you know, that went inwards, and this peak or cone shape going upwards. I thought it was very weird that they were very similar, and it was odd to me that there was no beings within this entire astral projection. There was a voice, like I said, during when that shovel was digging out the dirt. There was a voice, excuse me, that was talking to me, and it seemed to be male, but I can't confirm that. It seemed to be like I was like another being. I couldn't really tell, but I think I was some sort of like elf or something. I don't know, like a munchkin. That's the best way of describing it. That's what I think I was, and that another like munchkin being was talking to me. But I never saw it the whole time. That's just like my perspective of what I imagine happened, if that makes sense. Like I knew at the time who they were, and they scared me when they said whatever they said. So this was a very weird astral projection. I have no idea what it means. But it clearly meant something, especially if it would scare me that much, whatever that person said, or thing said. I have no idea what it was that talked to me, but yeah, it was very weird experience. So I'll see you guys next time. Just wanted to share my astral projection and the weird vision that I had. So, see you guys later. Peace.